Well, that was my first stumble. Well, that sounded good, didn't it? Hi, everybody. It's probably why I'm not on the camera. Time again for another behind-the-scenes look at BAAD Radio, which means business at a distance. So there you have it. This was all created during COVID, and we still have businesses at distance, which means that we should probably get them together, which is what this networking opportunity is all about. But without further ado, let's get this thing started, shall we? All right, let's get rid of that. Stand by in the studio.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BAAD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BAAD Radio. BAAD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I am your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me, we have our producer, Melissa Fox.
Hi.
How are you doing today, Melissa?
I'm great. I am winning the contest for ugliest shirt.
I think that you are.
I know. I think I did.
No. We talked about it earlier. You should see
It's
the
ugly.
inside. That's a compliment. She wants it to be ugly.
Okay.
That was the plan. I thought there was a contest, and apparently I'm the only one entered.
Well, then you definitely won.
Oh, no.
Up next, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello.
Melissa is our co-host and our videographer. And if you go to baadradio.com, you can watch all the previous episodes of BAAD Radio. Melissa does a great job of doing all of that for us.
Thank
and
you.
You're welcome. And then you can also go to strikingbrand.com to see the rest of Melissa's work because she is a photographer as well as a videographer. We have two new guests with us today on BAAD Radio, so please welcome Paul Clark, president of Storm Consultants, and Paul is also the GM of Renegade Roofing. Hi, Paul.
Hi, everyone.
Mm-hmm. So Paul and our next guest, actually, I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. Our next guest is Ken Sider. Am I saying that right? Sider. Siders. Okay, you guys got to scoot a little bit closer together for me. Ken is a senior forensic analyst with environmental testing and assessment. That sounds so incredibly impressive. The whole forensic part where I'm just like, heck yeah. But you guys made the hike up from Fort Myers today, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
How far was that?
It's about 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah. I know that because we've been in town a few times for baseball tournaments. So we've made that hike that way. The traffic in Fort Myers is horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Horrendous. I mean, it's bad everywhere you
Worse
go.
than Orlando? Worse than I-4?
Oh, probably not worse than
Yeah.
I-4, like at certain times. But with Fort Myers, you have what is it? 75 is the main one that
Yes.
everything you get off on, and it's just each one that you get off on is like traffic jam after traffic jam. We did go to downtown Fort Myers. We went to a kava bar down there, and it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like it had a nice little vibe to it. But you guys, thank you so much for being with us today. It's hurricane season, and so that's why these gentlemen are here, because we have a whole lot to talk about.
Yep.
But first, this portion of BAAD Radio is brought to you by Frogger's Bar and Grill. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. With 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Come with friends or bring the family for some food and fun. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun. So next up, we have the networking news, and I did actually get you the content for the live this time.
Okay. And yes, if you give me like 2 seconds. Okay. Ready?
Are you
Symphonic.
prepared now?
I'm super prepared.
Okay.
Come on. All right. Symphonic CBD is a branch of Live Your Best Life, both advocates of Green Compass Global. Green Compass products are USDA organic, lab-tested, non-GMO, made in the United States, and cruelty-free. All good things. Wow. CBD products are key in making calmness a habit. They also have CBD for our fur babies. To get more information on the benefits of CBD, visit symphonic-cbd.com. That's symphonic-cbd.com.
Yeah, she finished her website.
Nice.
I know. It looks so good.
Did the same person who did BAAD's website do
No,
hers?
actually, she did it herself.
Oh, wow. Go, Anna.
I know. I don't know how.
Killing it.
It's my daughter,
Oh.
Symphonic CBD is a branch of Green Compass Global, which is the parent company.
And the networking news was actually sponsored by the company, the business that got Anna in, which is called Live Your Best Life. So both Live Your Best Life and Symphonic CBD are advocates for Green Compass Global. So basically, the more that Anna sells, the more it's all connected together. So, but yes, Anna did her own website, and we're very proud of her. So, what do we got for the networking news today?
So, for networking news today, I wanted to talk about benefits of networking with businesses that are related to yours.
Okay.
So, not just kind of networking for the sake of networking. In BNI, we have contact spheres. So, you kind of want to connect with people who are related to your business, and just wanted to talk about why that is important.
Well, I mean, our two guests today actually are perfect with that because you guys work in an industry where you can pass referrals back and forth, right?
Correct.
Right. So, I mean, that in itself is a huge benefit.
Right. So you guys will be able to definitely like firsthand, check these off as benefits. So the first one is collaboration and partnership opportunities. You're able to build relationships with businesses that are in your industry in complementary sectors. You can do joint ventures. So an example would be, when you do work with any other sort of promotional industry.
For me, like another, I mean, for Mindful Media Group, that's the agency that I work for. I mean, I work with vendors, so that's what I do. Is I'm basically a media broker. So I would work with a company, they would come see me, but I mean, I'm constantly doing meetings and networking with the people that are in that industry, so that when I meet with a company, I have all of the information on what would be the best place for them to advertise.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
So they get a bang for their buck.
What about you? I mean, like, what are some of your contacts?
Honestly, if I work with somebody in web development, that's another really good one, especially if they're used to working with new businesses.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Right. So if I come in contact with someone who's a new business owner, I can send them to someone who can make a nice website, like Nasir from last episode, can give them a good website, and then he's going to need content for that website. So then he can refer people back to me.
And from our conversations, Paul, you are like the networking king down there. Look at Ken's over there like, yes, he is. I'm glad I know this guy. But I mean, like you said, those are the types of things that can keep businesses in business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the big thing is you want to network with each other and push business to one another, but it's also more than that. You want to have partners that you can trust, that you know are going to take care of your clients.
Yes, that is one of the reasons why I do like BNI. Ken, do you know what BNI is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was something, but that's why I like BNI, because when somebody asks me for a referral, because people know that now that they're like, Angela knows people. So they'll ask me, hey, do you know anybody that does gutters, or do you know anybody that does this? I know that I have a source to refer from. So if I don't know anybody personally, then I can go into BNI and find somebody, because if they're in BNI, then they've been checked out. And if they've been in BNI for any length of time, that means that they're quality, because if they're not, then they don't last.
They drop out pretty fast.
Or they get booted.
Yeah.
We booted somebody out of our network last week.
Did you really?
Yeah. He shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Like, get the rubbish out. Oh, God.
It's like,
cut through. So
my job is done here.
Right? Must have been in for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one is knowledge sharing and learning. So you can engaging with people who are in your related field helps you stay updated on industry trends, gains insight into best practices, innovative approaches, and emerging technologies that can benefit your own business. So for me, I usually work primarily with businesses, photography and videography, but when I connect with someone who's a family photographer in a different field, it's really fun to be able to learn like what their techniques are, and the ways that they maybe share files, things like that I wouldn't necessarily do on my own.
Yeah, no, I do too. Like I said, every time I meet with somebody, I learn something new, especially when I'm talking about vendors, a new way of doing something, a new way of getting exposure to a company. And with you guys, I mean, do you have to do a lot of like education to stay on top of, I mean, not just like, you guys, your stuff is changing all the time, from the cost of materials to whatever. I mean, for environmental stuff, is there like code changes all the time that you guys have to stay abreast of?
So for the environmental world, there are required hours for your licensure.
You have to talk closer to it there.
Oh, okay. How about that? Is that better?
Nice.
You got that nice deep voice.
I know.
It's
We
like
wanna
just
hear it.
like just milk that that voice right now. So
So there are required hours from the state. And then there are the hours that you really need to put in to stay on top of your game. That's so important.
yeah. Well, I think that we've all established that it's really important to network within your industry. So, but that music means that we're going to a break, and when we get back, where we're going to talk about hurricane season with both Paul and Ken. So stay tuned because it's here. It's important.
Oh, yeah, it is important. Hurricane season and more Bad Radio on the way. You're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando.
Those are my songs.
They're nice.
I sent her a list of songs that I like.
You got your jam?
That's one of them. I know it's old.
I like that song.
Yeah. There.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. Sean Penn.
Mr. Hand.
The pizza scene is the best.
I know. Tom, my husband, tries to get the kids to watch like those old movies with him, like the classics he calls them. And every single time they'll start watching it and they'll be like, "This is so stupid." And I'm like, "This what are you talking about? It's Spicoli. There's nothing
Right?
stupid about Spicoli." And they're
That's
like,
funny.
"It's stupid, Mom." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. Okay,
Stand by, folks. Here we go again.
here we go."
You just had to talk, didn't you?
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back to Bad Radio. This portion of Bad Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. It is hot, hot, hot out there, so best to plan some inside activity. But first, a trip to Premier Couple Superstore. They have the best selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, clubwear, and so much more. And you're not going to pay those high prices because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Anyway, okay. So before break, we talked about hurricane season. And just a reminder to our audience, we're speaking with Paul Clark, president of Storm Consultants, as well as the GM of Renegade Roofing, and Ken Siders, senior forensic analyst in environmental testing and assessment. I need to like shorten that up somehow, because
Some initials or something.
it's like 30 seconds of the content is all that. But the reason that I invited you guys here today is because it is hurricane season. And anybody that's been listening to Bad Radio knows that I feel very passionate about everything that's been happening in the state of Florida. So first and foremost, let's just talk a little bit first. Ken, let's talk about your background in Paul. Let's talk about your background in what you're doing right now. I know that you're the GM of Renegade Roofing, but you're also launching your own company, correct?
Correct. So I've been in the industry for 25 years. I started out as a storm chaser. Came to Florida in 2004 after the 4 hurricanes, became an insurance adjuster for the insurance companies.
And I think that's awesome because you've seen the other side.
Oh, yeah. And you learn a lot, you learn why the insurance companies do what they do and not do what they're supposed to do.
Are they really as bad as we all say they are?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can tell you a funny story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, that's what
So when I was getting trained, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. There was about 500 of us being trained to become insurance adjusters. So they gave you a class for a week of policy and knowledge, and then how to use. Back then was Xactimate and IntegraClaim, which IntegraClaim is no more.
Is that the name of a company?
That's the name of the estimating software that the insurance companies use. So the last day we're there, they're deploying us all. Yeah, I was deployed to Stewart and Port St. Lucie, Florida at the time. And before they deployed us, they said, "Hey, just so you guys know, we got to tell you, there's 2 things you can't pay for. You can't pay for full replacement of screen enclosures." And I'm from New York originally, so I'm like, screen enclosure? What's that? Where I'm from, it's just a framed room with a screen.
Right,
so
right.
why can't you pay for that? But anyways, once you go to Florida, you understand what a screen enclosure is. And then they said, you can't pay for full replacement of tile roofs. We're going to send an engineer. So I raised my hand, and I had State Farm as insurance at the time. And I said, well, my understanding is I pay my policy premiums every month. If I have damage, you pay it. Why would I need an engineer?
Did they kick you out right then and with a big fat F that says fail on your forehead?
Pretty much that's what they wanted to do. But so the gentleman laughs. He snickers in front of 500 people. He goes, "We don't answer to policyholders. We answer to stockholders.
Oh
That's
my
all you need to
God.
know about the insurance industry.
Wow, yeah.
Right. I think my biggest thing too is because I do a lot of research, and when I find out like what the CEOs are making, I don't feel sorry for them anymore. They're like, "Oh, woe is me! We've got all these claims, and we can't afford to be there. Well, stop paying your CEO $18 million. It's so frustrating, girl.
Right,
Sometimes
yeah.
I have to put it down.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's like worse than politics.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like, don't bring it up around Angela.
You would think common sense would tell them to pay the claims, not the bonuses.
But no, I mean, a lot of insurance companies will actually pay more to fight against paying the claim than just paying the claim and being done with it, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
There are reasons behind that, so they don't want to establish precedents.
Is that what it is?
It's part of it, and then there's the delay, deny, defend, in which if you have $20 billion that you're going to have to spend, if you spend a couple of million in legal fees and put that off for a year or two, then you've retained that capital. So I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's the
It's
way
a
the real world.
business.
it's the
It
way it
all
works.
it all comes down to the
Dollars.
That's
the
exactly
money.
right.
Right. I mean, is there any hope for the state of Florida?
Oh, God. We went dark.
Well, as we know, the law changes didn't help the property owners.
Do you see
Right.
reform in the future?
We've talked to a couple of attorneys that we're friends with and we use, and they said that this is going to be the wave probably for the next couple of years until the DeSantis and the politicians get slapped in the face when these the policyholders can't pay for their claims because they're not getting the proper settlement back. One of the big things right now.
Well, yeah, let's do this real quick. Let's tell everybody exactly what we're talking about. It's been a minute since I've talked about what happened with Senate Bill 2A, but I'm going to let you describe it because I've had attorneys on here describe it. I've had other people on, but I don't think I've ever had a roofer come on and
We can
actually
hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, and then also somebody that's environmentalist.
So one of the problems with right now is Hurricane Ian, everybody's grandfathered in, so you can get your attorney's fees paid for. With any new claim, any new hurricane that happens now, you can't get your insurance fees paid for. You've got to pay them out of your pocket.
That's
So-
huge.
That's a big problem because with what's going on today, the insurance companies go in and they, go to DeSantis and say, this is what we can do and we're going to help and this is going to be better. Well, with the delays and denial tactics, that we're 9 months into the storm already. The 28th of this month's 9 months, and there's only probably a third of the claims settled. So that tells me on the new law change that you only have 1 year to file a claim, and you have another 6 months to do a supplement. As if we're in a storm right now and under this new law, we'd be in serious trouble. And so the insurance companies are showing bad faith right now by not even taking care of the customers on Hurricane Ian. Thankfully, we have 2 years to file a claim, so they have some more time. They have attorney fees that can be paid for. But if we're in a new storm and they do this, I tell this story, break this number down. Say you have a claim that's $100,000. The homeowner has a $10,000 deductible, and then you got to hire a public adjuster. There's another $10,000. So now,
right?
Yep, 10%. The public adjusters in this storm, not all of them, but a lot of them are getting stall tactics. So they're not getting anywhere. They're getting to a certain point and they're done. So now you got to hire an attorney. In a new storm, you're going to have to pay that attorney a third. So now that claim just went from $100,000 down to $47,000. They just took $53,000 because $10,000 for your deductible, $10,000 to the public adjuster, and $33,000 to that attorney.
And then you've got $100,000 worth of damage, so you're out. What is that, like 60 grand?
Yeah.
Right. So there's no way that a homeowner can fix their issues without having to pay for it.
Exactly. So what's going to happen is you have $47,000. One of two things is going to happen. One, you're going to have to go get a home equity loan if you have it, and lower to middle class don't have that type of money laying around to take these. So what's going to happen is the homeowner is going to have to try to get a loan. And after they get the loan, then they can see if they pay. If they can't get a loan, which people are having problems with SBA loans from FEMA now not even getting approved, you're going to have to figure out for $47,000, what do I fix? So what do you fix? You've got to pay for a tarp because you got a leak. You got to pay for a roof, and then you got to pay for remediation test and have remediation done.
Yeah.
There's not enough money to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do?
We need to talk to DeSantis and go back to him and say, hey, you made a bad deal here, and, this law needs to change. Don't get me wrong. Some of these attorneys did do the wrong things, and they took too many fees. They should go back to the laws, and they should look at Louisiana. Me and Ken were just talking about this yesterday. Louisiana has a better law system to take care of the property owners, but also take care of the attorneys and keep them honest. And that's one thing that we need to look at.
Like implement that over here. And Brooke was saying the same thing of Bolts Legal about how we need to go back and talk to it, but it's going to be a while before we can have any sort of reform.
Everybody gives me that 5 year. About 5 years. Is that what you guys think?
I think that a lot of times people put stop signs up at intersections that have already had wrecks. And I believe that's what we're going to see. It's too late at this point to get that law changed. We're in hurricane season.
Right.
And so I believe we're going to have a huge car wreck when
I
we
agree.
have this. And that's going to spill out onto the people who made it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen because we're going to have storms this year.
Yep.
I mean,
like every year.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, but I
Still
mean,
coming.
but everybody's been telling me that the waters in the Caribbean and stuff like that
Oh,
are like
worse.
10 degrees higher on average or something. Which
Very warm.
Very warm. And then Puerto Rico just this past week the whole island had a state of a warning for a heat advisory.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, you know what? I want to talk about that a little bit more as far as like the prediction of the storms and how you guys get prepared for that, because this whole show is really going to be about the homeowners and what they need to do to get prepared. So you guys stay tuned. And when we get back from break, we're going to talk more about that.
It's Bad Radio. That's all you left me.
You got to the point, though.
We're going to get a call from DeSantis' office saying we got to leave Florida.
You know what? If DeSantis calls you, can I talk to him?
Right.
I have Lieutenant Governor Nunez's number, but DeSantis is a little elusive. Let's put it that way.
Do you guys know a guy named Patrick Carr?
Patrick Carr?
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah, he does a lot of like videos and stuff like that, and we know that some of his stuff has made it to DeSantis' office.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's a huge advocate against it, and
Yeah. We'll have to look him up.
yeah, he's got a lot of good content. He goes to like roofing conventions, and he just goes around and he talks. It's like a podcast, mobile kind of thing or something like that. But he does a whole lot of yelling.
Yelling, that's good. I like yelling.
He's got that real deep voice like yours, and but it's like so far just if you feel like you're screaming on nobody's listening.
Right.
So
Well, you've got to, when you're yelling, you've got to have the right content to yell about.
well, you have to have the voice, and the voice is what we're doing right now. It's the radio. It's being able to get everybody to get together onto one unified path, and then push that. That's the only way that
Right.
anything's going to happen.
All right, segment number 3 is coming up. Are you ready for that? Did I
Yup.
scare you? I'm sorry.
No.
No, I'm not. You know I'm not. All right, stand by. So silly.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of Bad Radio is brought to you by Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. No company is too small. ForgeITConsulting.com. All right, we are talking with Paul Clark, president of Storm Consultants, as well as the GM of Renegade Roofing, and Ken Siders, senior forensic analyst with environmental testing and assessment. I got it better that time. And before I went to break, we were talking about the prediction of storms and what people need to do in order to get prepared. And so we mentioned that the waters down south in the Caribbean and stuff like that are 10 degrees higher on average. So that's a good prediction of storm season. So you guys are in the industry. What do you do with that information? Do you start advertising people what do you do to help get homeowners get prepared?
Well, this radio show, for one
I
thing.
know. Well, the second media. Yeah.
And then we try to get the words out there. We start collaborating already in May of putting our teams together to be prepared for when the storms hit. So we have, shrink wrap companies, we have our tarping companies, we have remediation companies, we have our testing, environmental testing, and then we also have, all of our, we also have a general contracting company. So we put everybody in place, put them on notice. Hey, if this hits, where are you willing to go? What are you willing to do? So we have the team, we can deploy, and we can be there the next day to help people clean up and, really go out and help the community.
No, I think that that's fantastic. So can your business, environment, I mean, is your business hyper-focused on mold assessment?
No, we're focused on damage that's been caused by hurricanes or whatever.
Okay, so remediation, like he was saying.
So our company is actually we're a third-party assessment company.
Okay.
So because we're a third party and we don't, as they say, have a horse in the race, we can go into a building and accurately describe and document the damages that have become from the storm, and then whatever environmental damage that's happened because of that storm damage. So we give that to public adjusters. We work with a lot of lawyers.
Okay, I see. So you don't felicitate or whatever. You put together the repair. You just say this is what's wrong.
Right.
That's right. And we do write a scope of work, which is called a protocol in this business. And so a mitigator or a remediator, those who come in and clean the buildings, have a third-party estimate of what needs to be done. It's a good educated starting point.
Okay.
And then we monitor the job we work for the asset owners ourselves.
The asset owners.
Yeah, so the building owner, the homeowner.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we're a professional advocate for that. And because we've been in this business a really long time, we understand what a good job looks like and what a not good job looks like. And we don't have a problem saying that.
Good. I like to hear that too, because I think of like home inspectors that are like, hey, I really want to get this closed. So can you just kind of skip over that leak in the bathroom a little bit? So we're not talking about that.
No.
No, not at all.
And the third party aspect sounds like more trustworthy. You'd be able to depend on what you have no horse in the race, like how you said.
Yeah. I think I always think of the word nonpartisan. It's like, like straight down the middle. Switzerland. You're Switzerland.
Yeah.
We are Switzerland.
Very cool. So that gives me a little bit more of an understanding. And then, okay, so you guys work together. So you're like Renegade Roofing would hire Ken's company, or wait, no, you would give the referral to.
So I'll just tell you how it usually happens.
Yes.
Is we get called in either by a contractor or a remediator or the asset owner or lawyers or public adjusters. So we contract directly with the asset owner. So we're kind of a side, if you will. And then it may be that Paul's company is there also, or perhaps they need a roof. And so as a third party, of course, people ask us. And we've run storms. I'm 20-plus years in the business, so we know who the good actors are and who the bad actors are. We'll generally give them several referrals. But within our group, and understand we're all not actually in a group. We're just a group of business people that have found it's advantageous, as you've said, to do business together.
Yeah.
And so then we'll act as the third party, giving advice environmentally, structurally, as the case may be, and then performing what, if you will, an accurate assessment of the damage that we hand off to the next person, which may be the roofer, it may be the remediator, the mitigator, or it may just be making a package. We make packages called RFT, ready for trial. So we'll make a package that's completely organized in a 3-ring binder, tabbed, something you can just hand to a lawyer who he can just take to trial. That's one of the services we offer as a third party.
So you're one of the first people that people contact.
Sometimes. Sometimes people, they'll say, and I won't name names, but, the big remediation companies who spend a lot of money to advertise. So forefront in the person's mind is, I want my house fixed or I want my business open. And so environmental assessment may not be the first thing they think of. Some of them don't even realize it's an issue. But whether we're the first in or we're the second in or the third in, we still operate in that same third party.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people think that the first thing they're supposed to do is call their insurance company and file a claim. And I've come through.
After all this knowledge, we're like, no. Find an attorney.
Well, the truth is that according to most policies, your first course of action is to get an assessment of the damage before you even. I mean, it's basically supposed to be your responsibility to assess that damage before you file a claim. Nobody knows that.
No, I didn't know that.
I know. I learned that at a roofing convention.
So I have a comment on that, which I think is helpful for the homeowners. So we should all understand that when an insurance company sends out a, quote, assessor, they work for the insurance company.
Yeah.
They are absolutely not a third party. They're there to do whatever the minimum is, and I'm not banging these guys and girls. That's just their job. So would you as a homeowner rather have their document produced and given to the desk adjuster, which it'll eventually be there, or would you rather have your own, which would be in a more timely fashion? We all know it takes 6, 8, 9 months sometimes for the adjusters to come out from the insurance company. So in the meantime, you touched on this. It is your duty, it's your actual duty by the policy to mitigate damage to the best of your ability. It's also your duty to figure out where you stand, as you said. Wouldn't it be better to have your own set of documents that are done by a person who works for you?
Absolutely.
What'll happen in many instances, especially in residentials, is that if you have this prepared by a reputable third party, the insurance company won't even spend the money to send their people out.
They'll use the one that you submit?
They'll use the one. It happens time and time again.
Really?
It just can't be from a home inspector, though. You have to have a company that, A, is known in the business, and B, actually has the letters behind their name that prove that what they do is legitimate.
Oh, well, that's really, really interesting to know, because I think that we've all just been conditioned that the first thing that we do is call our insurance company and file a claim. I think that a lot of people, people are becoming more and more aware that the insurance company is not on their side.
Hopefully.
But I still think that the majority of homeowners think that that's
your whole assumption is you're paying all this in, that they're going to cover you. So
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd think otherwise, unless you
Sometimes-
met Angela.
Yeah.
She will let you know.
Sometimes I wish I could just get away without having to buy insurance.
I know, that's
at
what I
all.
was thinking, because if you're
You're
going to
gonna
end
have
up
to pay it anyway.
Exactly. If you're paying anyways,
But I
you
do
might
have
as
a
well
mortgage.
sack that money away to keep on the side to pay for the damage.
Well, yeah, I mean, my house flooded for Hurricane Ian, and I didn't get a penny because I didn't have flood insurance, and it was groundwater. It we got 22 inches in less than 20 hours, and my sunken living room filled up like a swimming pool. And we had just paid for new floors. We paid like $16,000 to re-floor the house, and it was floating. It was lovely. And you were right. You talked about the difficulty getting an SBA loan. FEMA came out. They said, we're really sorry. Here's $300. And I was like, so we had to pay, to have them. I mean, our wall stayed wet forever because I couldn't find a company that actually even had fans to come out and help me blow it up. And when the ones that did, they wanted $6,000.
Yeah.
That was. We were going to break 1 minute, but I was like, $6,000 for fans? I'm like, are you smoking crack?
I'll bring all my box fans. Just line them up.
Oh, actually, you know what? We are going to go to break soon, but one of the things I do want to talk about is the cost. Why you guys need to help me understand why these costs are set the way they are. Because I know it doesn't cost $6,000 to bring out fans, but what I'm guessing is that's what the insurance company is going to cover. That's what they've put in their books as the max they'll cover for fans and evaporating machines and stuff like that. So think about that for a second, because like I said, I really am curious, because it seems like even if you don't want to go through insurance, it's been outpriced so much that everything's so expensive that you're stuck. So anyway, on that note, we're going to go to break. So you guys stay tuned, and we're going to talk about the cost of repairs when we get back.
Wow, it sounds like fun, actually. Hurricane season is here. You better be prepared. We're going to help you out next on BAAD Radio.
Is that true, though? I mean, is that why it costs $6,000?
She's like, okay, tell me now. I can't wait.
So you got some bad players out there, like Ken says, and it just depends on how long.
You should wait to answer this, Ange.
Right.
I want to make sure if it's a legitimate question before.
No, it is. I mean,
I don't want to do some BS.
If they're like, oh my God, this is like a dumb
if
question.
you want to lead into, I'll tell you why we have a team. So I'll let Ken answer that about the pricing, and then let's lead into why we put this team together.
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That works. See, great minds.
All right, stand by, great minds.
Welcome back to BAAD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And this portion of BAAD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Rainy season is here, so don't make the mistake of overwatering your lawn. Call Recall with Ground Up Property Services about a water sensor. Too much water can be just as harmful as not enough water. And while you're at it, ask about the irrigation system inspection. And don't forget about the lawn painting service. If you are planning an outdoor event and you want to hide those brown spots on the lawn, call 407-468-4295. You can reach Ground Up Property Services at groundupinc.net. Okay, we are here and we're talking with Paul Clark, president of Storm Consultants, as well as the GM of Renegade Roofing, and Ken Siders, senior forensic analyst with environmental testing and assessment. So we've gotten a lot more information about who you guys are and what you do. And before break, I kind of put something out there in regards to the cost of repairs, because with my experience is that it's way too expensive for stuff that I know really doesn't cost that much. And so and we talked about it a little bit on the break, so let's hear it.
So you ask why things cost so much. So I might start with this. There is a program by Exactware called Exactimate. It's a program that's actually, strangely enough, owned by the insurance companies in a conglomerate. That program tells the remediators, the mitigators, exactly how much they can charge for what. It has everything listed down to.
But based off of what? I mean, what is it based off of what they agree? I mean, like.
It is a national price that is adjusted locally. And what happens is every single storm, they gather that data, and there will be people who, well, I'll give you an example. I was over in the islands, and they used Exactimate there, but it didn't work because everything had to be brought in on a barge. So it's a starting point, if you will, and it's used and accepted by the insurance companies. So if you want to be a big boy and play in that world, you're going to use that software predominantly, and you're going to use it in a manner that's prescribed. So why would it be $6,000 to bring fans and dehus into your house? Simply, that's the way it's dictated. You might compare it in a way to why does a Tylenol cost $10 in a hospital? Well, it's because that's what they'll pay for it. That's what the insurance company will pay
So this
for it.
Exactimate, you said that is it owned by the insurance companies? You said that they use it primarily. They have to use it. But is there any sort of, like, the insurance companies have any, like, stakes in this program, that business?
Absolutely.
So then that probably has a lot to do with.
Absolutely.
That's why.
I mean, that's
obvious.
It's my ball. I'm going to make the rules, and we're going to play the way I like.
Right.
That's how it is. And by the way, my ball works best for me.
Wow.
It's such a messed up system. Okay, so
you were right.
Yeah.
Why fans cost $6,000? It's because that's how much the insurance company wants to make off.
I know, but you know what? We just let our walls be wet. And
Girl.
the guy that did our floors, he used to work for a company, and he had some extra fans. He brought him out, and once we got them as dry as we could, we had a mold assessor come out, and as of right now, we don't have mold.
That's good.
Now that it's warmer, I'm probably gonna. I mean, we keep our
Double
AC
check.
stay on the same. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. We don't open up the house when it's hot. So, we're probably gonna check. Probably, I'd say in July or August again. But we did get SBA money, so that whole area is actually, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's gonna be gutted.
Right.
So we just have to, we got the first installment, and so we took care of roof damage. We got the biggest thing was getting French drains put in so that our house does not flood again.
Right.
That was my priority. And that just got done like last week.
So one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is how Storm Consultants evolved and why Renegade. You're asking $6,000 for fans. That's what happens after these storms is you get everybody coming here. You'll get, some of the big companies, remediation companies come down here. They have guys that are temp guys. They've never done remediation. They call them trash and bag companies, but they charge you crazy money. Also, there's a thing called emergency services in customers' policies, and these guys know it, and they take advantage of it. So why Storm Consultants came and our partnership came is because we put a group of companies together, roofing, tarping, shrink wrap, remediation, environmental services, fencing, screen enclosure companies, drywall companies. We put us all together because we want to make sure the customer is being taken care of correctly. There's no price gouging. We go off Exactimate pricing. Another great thing that we do is we help the customer and do the work for what the insurance company pays or what we supplement them for. The only out-of-pocket ever to a client is one of three things. Should be your deductible. And a lot of people they say, oh, you took the deductible out. Yes, because you're liable for that first portion of that money.
Right.
So I have that, conversation a lot with customers. They don't get the deductible.
They don't know what their deductible is.
Exactly. They're like, well, they took the deductible, so I already paid it. Well, no,
No, you
you're
didn't.
liable for that first. So you have that conversation with people, and they sometimes don't get it. So what I've done over the past said, well, let's call your insurance agent. Let them explain the deductible to you because, I'm the roofer.
Right.
Who am I? Yeah, I just want to get more money is what they think, and that's not the case. We try at our company. We educate all of our partners. We educate everybody and give them the all the information and let them make a decision. I tell people this all the time. Not one of us sell anything. We offer a service.
It's the service. Yeah.
We educate, and at that point, you take from that education what you want to do. And if you trust us and want to work with us, that's a great partner because we're in this together. When a property, a business or a residential property, you could be there for 90 days. You could be there for 6 months. You could be dealing with this for a year together.
Right.
And you want to have a correct partner. So when a storm hits, having storm consultants and our team and Ken's team, and you get a hold of us and we put the team together, you're going to be taken care of. And that's what's going to need to happen on the next storm is you're going to need a consultant. Going and finding a contractor that's never done insurance is going to be tough.
Right.
The laws have changed, so insurance or construction companies' hands are tied a little bit. So that's why we partner with public adjusters and attorneys because of those law changes. But you also have to be careful. After Hurricane Ian, we had as we say, cockroaches came out of everywhere.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You had every public adjuster company from Miami all over. And look at Miami's background with those type of companies.
Well, I know that's how AOB's assignment of benefits got such a bad name is because you had like you said these companies come in,
A few bad ones.
yeah,
Ruin it all.
and collect that check and then
Bounce.
disappear like that, and that's it. So now I personally thought AOBs were great because I work with people that I know and trust. So I'm okay assigning somebody the responsibility to do the things that I don't understand. But like I said, it's gone now. Bye-bye. So,
And unfortunately, with all those things, with the attorney fees, that bad attorneys taking too many fees, that soured the well.
Yeah.
Same thing with public adjusters. You got the good and bad ones, the good ones that care, and I know we have partners. And then the bad ones, take advantage, and then the contractors. We're in the same thing. The contractors that came down here from other states and took people's deposits and took off. So it's hard on us because people don't trust.
exactly.
So that's why we try to get this message out.
Kenny, you were going to say something?
I just want to make a comment about the out-of-state contractors. So, first of all, I agree with Paul. Like cockroaches, it's scary. But on the other hand, let's be practical. There aren't enough local people to handle a hurricane. There just aren't. And I've been doing this in a very long time, literally all over the world. You don't have enough local people ever to build that